we're going to talk about PaperX and why PaperX is actually a gatekeeper team and not, you would say chokers, but I think we're going to spin it and say that they're probably the most consistent team in Valorant and the most consistent core. Because I personally would have thought G2, if they've done maybe, top four in this game, just because of how ever since they ascended, they've always had really good results. But after that performance, I have to clearly give it to Fnatic or PaperX. But since PaperX are the most competitive team in terms of if Fnatic made it to this event, then yeah, you can make the argument for Fnatic and Boaster and the core that they have. But since PaperX has been the most consistent, has made this event, and we're speaking as of now, PaperX is the most consistent and a gatekeeper team. The issue that they run into is a lot of things. I think the first thing I want to mention is Vietnam, where they played T1. And when they played T1, I thought, wow, T1 can actually beat them, and PaperX won't make it to another international. And to say that, it's we've seen PaperX. If you actually have watched and paid attention to Valorant or VCT, you've seen where PaperX has played a T1, has played a Genji, has played a DRX, and has pretty much not been able to hurdle them. Sometimes they'll go back and forth, but when Genji was really strong with the Munchkin, PaperX pretty much could do nothing. Munchkin had the read on them from the get-go, and there would be times where I would watch Genji play PaperX and I'd be like, wow, they know what they're gonna do, and there's not any other teams that know how to stop this. I think the closest example is when G2, when they had IC, when they played PaperX, and they would just simply just hold. They knew PaperX was super aggro, and they would just hold. I remember a buying round, they would just hold PaperX. They would be running out of smokes, and they would just run into the crosshair, and that's how they won the series. And it's a similar sense of where Munchkins had the same read with. And along with that, there's other teams like a DRX where they had really great form in champs, where they went on a run to finally make it into a top 4 or a top 3 in the sense. And again, there's a lot of these specific powerhouse teams where they just run into and they've had problems with. But now we get over that. They beat a T1. And from there, they go into a lower final where they play GE. They absolutely stomped them. There was no shot of GE winning that lower final. And so we go to the upper final. We're thinking, okay, full sense, PaperX, we're going to get a banger. And again, PaperX looking really great form. There's no pressure. There's no big dog Pacific team for them to fight. They're all playing against scrubs. And so they win easy. Premi non-factor, had pretty much no impact. No was oh, I'm gonna at least win my team this map. They pretty much stomp them. And so from that we go into Masters London, and we're okay, there's no Swiss stage PaperX. PaperX sometimes need a loss. Sometimes they need something maybe they just have an off day, and from there they kind of start up the train, they start up the engine, and from there they're okay, we learn from a loss, but they start from the top seed in playoffs. In playoffs, they play a Lev that's 2-0, a Lev that has faced GE and has maybe can come out of the game saying, oh wow, we could have lost that game, and then face a Vitality an Energy where, oh, it's easy. It's Energy Lev, Lev pretty much Energy had no shot. And so going into Lev versus PaperX in the first matchup in the best of 3 before the grand finals, it's okay, PaperX, how are they going to show up? And PaperX from pretty much every other team was PaperX go into play Lev, and from there it was not even close. It was not even close by a margin. They 13-1 on Ascent, and they go into Lotus, and they give them a fair fight, or Lev give them a fair fight on Lotus. But pretty much from there, it's just okay, PaperX are maybe just gonna steam through this whole run. And keeping it in the back of their mind, they went 0-3 against Nangshan and Master Santiago. And from there, you're thinking like, okay, when are Paper X gonna like? Are they gonna lose one? Are they gonna crumble? Are they gonna, we've seen Paper X like sometimes in pressure moments, they'll resort to going for hero plays. They'll overpeak. Now, but we're not seeing any of this. They go into a Vitality game. Vitality gives them a good game, but Paper X clearly the better team. And they go into the EDG game. Wow, EDG takes the first map off of them. Oh wow, EDG must be in really great form. This is where Paper X might lose. EDG might be on a run. That was a conversation after the first map. But then they go into the second map that goes to OT. EDG almost win, but no, Paper X edge out. And from there, we go into the third map, and it's just a complete stomp on Split. And so finally, they make it to a grand finals. Isn't this a little familiar? When was the last time Paper X had a band map advantage into a grand finals? Oh wow, it was EG. And so going into this game, the first map, it's a complete stomp. Like, I remember compared to the EG series, like it was somewhat back and forth. Like, for the most part, like, because I remember seeing it live, like for the most part it was kind of back and forth, and not, this is just like off of memory, I'm not looking at scores, but it was kind of back and forth. But Paper X only won a map, and this is while EG are either a map up or 2 maps up. And from there it's like, okay, Paper X have to fight an uphill battle, and so they're kind of seen as like the underdog. When they initially go into the series as the favorite, they have a map advantage or band map advantage. And as we translate into this series where we go into Lev, and it's just a bunch of back and forth, it's a bunch of history of where Paper X just seem like they can't get over the edge. But what happened in Masters Toronto? It's a series where they're the underdog, where there is a lot of expectations for them to win. It's like this event or the other, but a lot of it is through the narrative of like they're not a strong team, whereas they're the strong team, and it's just about living up to the hype. In this event, in this Masters London event, they were clearly the favorite. They were clearly the strong team. And so when it goes to Lev, it's like, yes, Paper X still have that form, but Leviathan is a growing, strong team. And if you let them have an opportunity, then they're going to take it. And I think that's simply what happened is this: Paper X are the litmus test. They are the standard team for when it comes to international and grand finals, in that sometimes the team that has like the somewhat the most potential, and like kind of in the sense of Leviathan, where like most people expected them like to be at least in playoffs, but like for them to kind of be playing on house money, where like, okay, if we lose, we still have, a couple other like tournaments to be able to qualify for and be able to win. Like, it isn't by means any like chance that we're the favorite, so we can play sort of as free as we want. Whereas Paper X, they're kind of constantly be defined by tournament. If they don't make an international, oh wow, like Paper X didn't make it. And so Paper X are kind of dwelling on this narrative, and where they're constantly seen as chokers, where I think personally they're always playing kind of what the stakes off is. Like, when they go into most matches, maybe except for a grand final, it's like, oh, like, even if we lose this, like, we always we're always capable of coming back. But when it's a series where it all comes down to a best of 5, where each map is important, sometimes you just let off the gas and say, hey, like, yeah, we could potentially lose this, or like, the doubt comes into their head, and it's like, yeah, I guess we could lose this, and that would suck, but like, I guess we still have champs. And yeah, that's the sad reality. And like, maybe it's probably the 1% in their brain of what they think, but it's kind of the thing that they have to live with. It's like, you can't be defined by the match. Like, yes, it is the last match of a tournament, and what they win it all. But I think for them, it's just they have shown consistency, but the results are what people are measured the most. Like a great example of that is Sentinels last year with Narrate. They all made it to each international, kind of like G2. G2 has been again the most consistent team, but along with Sentinels up until this year, where they've made it to internationals, they're one of the top two teams. And Energy has kind of been resurfacing, but they don't have that much expectations just because they made a huge run in champs, but they aren't as statured as like a G2 where people are constantly visually seeing them at internationals, but they don't end up getting the result. And that can be the same thing that applies for PaperX. But I think again, with the quality and how they consistently are sometimes dominating teams, and sometimes like just being able to get the wins and being able to show really great showings and be competitive is a really good sign. And even though they don't come out the result, like I think PaperX is always going to be known as a really solid competitive team. And I think, yeah, that's just the reality that we all have to live with. It's like people can be competitive teams. You can be a 73-9 team Warriors team, but if you don't make it to win the NBA Finals, then nobody will care about that season. That's just the reality we have to live with.